What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Just something on my mind. Hey, again, that's just how I start my videos off. But it's Saturday night, so let's do a story time. Let me see. Should it be a funny story or should it be man? I got so many stories. You might be like, man, he need to write a book. But let's go. I think it had to be like 99, I believe. It was in Mid-City. Some people know Mid-City. That's in if you don't know, that's in Carrollton in New Orleans, off of Tulane and Carrollton. You feel what I'm saying? And on the corner right now, it used to be a gas station that turned into like a corner store. We used to call it Cha-Ching, but right now I think it's like a Juicy Crab or something. I forgot what it's called. But the lot next door to it is empty. There used to be a Speedy oil change. So I remember one night, I believe it was me, I think it was Reggie and Diggy, two dudes I used to hang out with. And we were just walking. I think we went and got us a little bottle of Thunderbird. You feel what I'm saying? Crazy young, we ain't know better. And we were just sitting behind the place on the air conditioner. So a dude rolled up on a bike, right? And said, man, what's going on with y'all? We was like, man, what's up? I'm thinking, man, maybe he trying to sell some weed or maybe he looking for it. I don't know. But I knew beforehand them two had did something before I seen them, but I didn't, I didn't think about it because I just got off the bus off to Louisiana coming from uptown out to Magnolia. So I'm like, nah. So he said, yeah, man, my little brother just got robbed and I'm just trying to find the dudes. So in my mind, I'm like, man, did these dudes just rob somebody and didn't tell me? So the dude was like, yeah, man, they beat my little brother up real bad, blah, blah, blah. So he showed the gun, right? He showed the gun. So when he showed the gun, Richard, his name was Richard, not Reggie, Richard, just stood there. And Diggy was just sitting there like, so he pulled the gun. So when he pulled the gun, I pushed him. And when I pushed him, I grabbed the gun. We tussling, we doing all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking, if I take, I'm fighting for the gun because I don't want to die. I want to go home. So I'm thinking if I fight him, if I, fight him for the gun, maybe they'll jump him. And guess what they did? They ran. When I tell you these dudes ran, I ain't never seen these dudes run so fast in my life in high school, middle school, none of that. Playing football in the street, I ain't never seen these dudes run this fast before in my life. So me and the dude tussling for the gun. So I don't know how it happened. It's like he was overpowering me a little bit, like getting closer and closer. So I clipped him. And when I clipped him, I took the gun. And when I took the gun, I was just like, man, I'm going to just scare him and make him run. So I'm going to shoot at the ground. So when I shot at the ground, the gun went click, click. I'm like, oh, he playing fraud games. So I broke out and ran. He grabbed my shirt. So when he grabbed my shirt, I said, man, let me come up out the shirt. But it wasn't a shirt. It was cold. It was a hoodie. So I turned around, me and him scuffling. We scuffling. And I ain't going to lie to you. I didn't know. It was like, maybe like, because the last bus came at like 10:30. So it had to be like, we sat there for a while. So it had to be like 11:30 at night. Nobody know where I'm at but those two. And let me tell y'all, that time frame felt like forever tussling with dude. You feel what I'm saying? So we tussling. He got me going off. I got him going off. We sitting there fighting, ding, ding, sitting there fighting, getting it in. So in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm about to die. Because I don't know if he got another gun, if he got a knife or what. I'm like, man, I don't know what's about to happen, but I got to get home. So as we rolling, I felt a bottle on the ground. Hit him over the head with it. He fell. I kicked him. I broke out running. As I'm running, instead of me going up Carrollton, I went up, what's the name of the street? Was it Laola? Because we had a Laola in Mid-City too. I believe it was Laola. I'm running up there to Pierce, and I'm going to turn on Pierce and just run all the way to Bank Street, right? I don't know if dude had people with him, but as I'm running, a black, I don't know what it was, but it's like a black pickup truck swerved and said, that must be one of them. So I stopped. I think it was like the third house from the Cornerstone Pierce. I may be wrong. I don't remember what it is. I hopped the fence. So as I hopped the fence, dude hopped the fence. I'm like, man, if I'd have kept, I'm thinking if I'd have kept going knowing when I saw them, this wouldn't be happening because I ain't have nothing to do with it. So the yard I was in, I was kind of stuck. They had like the little air conditioning unit. I ducked down. I'm a big boy now, but back then I was smaller. I think I was like maybe 130 muscle. So I ducked down. They passed me. I hopped out, went back the opposite way because in my mind I knew if I go the way I was going, they was already there. So I went the opposite way, ran all the way up Carrollton. I got home, but I didn't want to go home and they find out where I live, right? So I'm like, I ran by my boy Mookie house. You heard me? Now Mookie house is like 4 doors down from me. But I'm like, if I go to Mookie house, they're not gonna see me. But if I go in my door, because the corner, the street lights shine, you'll see me going in my house. So I went over to about Mookie. I'm like this. I'm like, man, I'm like, Mookie, open the door. I'm like, Mookie, open the door, bitch. I'm like, open the door. Open the door. He's like, man, move, what happened? So I explained to him what happened. I looked in the corner on his porch. Dickie hiding right there. So I grabbed him. I'm like, man, what's going on? Whoa. And he like, man, yeah, this happened like this. Man, I'm sorry. We should have told you. And I'm like, man, y'all down bad. You feel what I'm saying? So the car now is a red car just traveling the block. It's a red car. I think it was like a photo Taurus or something. You know, at one time, you know, the Taurus, when my city, then I think this is everybody's city. You see a full Taurus, that's them people. You dig what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm like, damn, I must have killed Buddy. You feel what I'm saying? For the police to be traveling around the way they traveling, I must have killed Buddy. So I'm like, man. But come to find out, it was his people. So they just riding around and they knew, I guess they must have knew who he was because it stopped like right in the middle of the block where all of us hanging. And I'm like, man, nobody up here got no gun, nobody got no knife, no bat. I'm like, Lord, please. If these dudes pass us by, I had my head down. I'm like, Lord, please, if these dudes pass us by, I promise you I ain't doing nothing wrong again. It is not like I'm scared, but at that time, I didn't have nothing to protect myself. My people didn't know what was going on. And by them two running, that already let me know if something was to happen, my people would never know. So they stopped passing. So I finally go inside. My mom asleep, my dad asleep, my little brother asleep, all my cousins, aunties, everybody asleep because we all live next door to each other. So the next morning I woke up, I told my mama what happened. I said, man, my mama a G. You feel what I'm saying? She ain't into none of that dumb stuff, but she the type that you can go to and she won't judge you. You feel what I'm saying? So the next day we go outside. You know, everybody running and everybody, you know, they told a story the way they told a story and people laughing at them. I'm like, well, what y'all laughing at? So I told a story and broke it down. They're like, damn, Mo, be honest with you, we could believe it better the way you coming. So I told them two, man, get the boxing gloves. We about to be, because y'all not about to make no fool of me. Whatever y'all did, I got in the crossfire of it. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, we got in the boxing glove. We will do what we did. So an hour later, I go inside, use the bathroom. I hear pop, 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 pop. I'm like, Lord, what's going on? I go outside across the street. My two cousins got shot at. Now, see, I'm thinking it was the same situation that happened, but it was a totally situation. But the dudes was the same friends as the other dude. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, we talked about it. And one of my partners, now, excuse me, drinking a little bit. I grew up in the era where, you know, you stay silent, you stay down, and you handle your business. You don't call them people, blah, 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 blah. You know, now I know better. You know, don't put yourself in situations you won't be in those situations. So we talking about it. One of my partners talking to the detectives, right? Now, let me tell you how crazy we was when we was young. Talking to the detectives, we told their names, the car they in, whoop. So I'm like, well, man, what you done? Like, you just told who it was, their names, the car, and all. They're like, yeah, see, if they get them off the street, we could get through. So that bothered me. Everybody was cool with it. That bothered me. Like, y'all in the streets doing these different things. Y'all jagging people, y'all getting jagged, and whoop. So at this point, we are not citizens. Even though we 15, 16, 17, 13, whatever age is old, we're not regular citizens. We can't tell the police. You feel what I'm saying? Now, if it was just, you know, a person, I go to high school, I play ball, I don't get in no trouble, yeah, that's acceptable. But with the things y'all doing, it's not acceptable, bro. When I tell you, that did not live with me to the point where I had to cut everybody off. Because it's like, if you went to the point of starting stuff with these dudes and putting everybody's life in danger and not telling no one, to whereas when the police come, you tell the police who these dudes are, and you think it's cool, well, you're not a person I need to be with. Man, time went by. The whole summer went by. I just stayed away. I found different bras to go by, and something happened where they got picked up by the police, right? When they got picked up by the police, different people's names was involved in different things, so the police came to my house, asking my mom and them for me, right? So I'm like, man, you know, like, my mom and them like, well, why you asking them for him? Even though I'm in the house, because again, my mom, my grandma, my cousins, all of them, G's. You feel what I'm saying? They like, well, why you asking for him? Such and such, he don't got nothing to do with this. So my grandmother made me come outside, and they was like, oh, no, that's not who he looking for. And my mom was like, well, you gave his name? Oh, no, well, that's a different face. Man, it's crazy. But long story short, always know who your friends are. Long story short, always trust your first instinct. My first instinct was to go home, not to stop and talk. See, if I'd have went home, I'd have never been involved in none of that. So I know I was all over the place. Again, this is my first time doing this. I was a little nervous, but there's going to be more stories than this. If you want to hear more stories like this, or more positive stories, or more funny stories, or the story by the time I got caught in the girl bed and the daddy came in the room with the gun, just let me know. You feel what I'm saying? But y'all have a good night, and thank you. Just something to think about.